Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey y'all, this is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Paranormal Punchers. Yes, to most of everybody's chagrin, I'm back. This is Nash.
I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Dave.
It'll be the last time you do the intro.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
You're great. Welcome back, buddy.
Thank you.
You know, some people, like Sean had left a comment on one of our posts that he's starting to think you have been abducted.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to let everybody know that I'm safe, that I was not probed.
They gave you back after they...
Yes, they tried to abduct me. They tried to probe me in there, and I was like, no. And they said, okay, well, you're done. Give you back. Whatever, we're done with you.
I assume he drank, the aliens abducted him, he drank all their beer and ate their food, and they just brought him back.
I ate him out of house and home.
Gave him back to us. Right. Speaking of aliens, Season 1 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds is now on Blu-ray, DVD, and limited edition Blu-ray Steelbook. Experience every episode like never before with over 100 minutes of special features, including exclusive cast and crew interviews, a gag reel, deleted scenes, and more. Own the Emmy-nominated first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds from CBS and Paramount Home Entertainment today. Limited edition, 4K, UHD Steelbook available for pre-order now. All right. Well, welcome back, man.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations on your strongman event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Came in second place.
I did.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, it's amazing.
First is the goal. Second, well, whatever. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the guy who beat me was basically a professional strongman. So it was 5 events that I did better than I expected, and and spent this last week, icing my entire body and reliving the pain of getting second place in every nook and cranny and swollen body part that I have. So,
all right,
yeah, there you go.
Well, I think you did great. You look like a monster out there.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be fun to talk about a monster, the Minerva Monster, a little creature from Ohio.
Not so little.
Not so little. I'll set it up here for everybody. Oh, and then on the second half, we got a movie review that kind of relates to Bigfoot in Ohio. But I'm saving that because, well, you'll wait. Just wait to hear. All right. So this was like back in 1978. There was like multiple reports of this big 300-pound hairy monster.
Not me.
Not you. I hope not. In this, it was called Paris Township, which is 2 miles west of Minerva.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So one hot summer night in August of 1978.
Oh, you got to start that different. You got to be like, it was a hot summer night, August of 1978.
I was sitting on my porch.
Me. Yeah. Evelyn Cayton. I keep wanting to say Clayton, and it's not right.
Alicia, this is Nash's first episode back after taking a break to get stronger, and you're messing it up. I'm kidding.
Sorry. Evelyn Cayton. She was sitting at the kitchen table with her family and some friends, and when they heard a noise in the backyard, and their dog started barking. Up until this point, they had been hearing like rocks hitting the roof, or they would hear noises outside. They heard it before, and they just assumed it was either a hermit or a crazed mountain man. And I have those in quotes.
Right, but at the same time, they're okay with like a crazed mountain man
Yeah.
that's living in the woods behind their house.
Yeah.
Like,
Just throwing rocks at their house occasionally. They're like, oh, don't worry, it's that guy. He's
Right.
just being nuts.
Right.
This is before slasher movies came out.
Oh,
so,
okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah, I got you.
So they glanced out the window, and that was when they saw something near the woods. A 6-foot-tall, hairy creature. A night or two later,
Which could still be a mountain man, quite honestly.
it could. They saw it again, but this time it was seen peering into their kitchen from the window. The outside light had illuminated it so that they got a pretty good look at it. And they also got a pretty good whiff of it. They reported that it smelled of ammonia and rotten eggs. It was about... right.
You know, that's a little different. Some other Bigfoot Sasquatch sightings, they talked about it smelling like smegma.
Right.
Yeah.
But now we got ammonia and rotten eggs.
Yeah.
Well, what I think what's not being said in that recounting of the tale was that the Minerva Monster had just re-dyed eggs for the following Easter.
Oh, jeez.
So that's why he smelled of ammonia and whatever else you said.
Do you use ammonia to dye eggs?
No, but it smells like vinegar. It smells like the house reeks of vinegar.
I thought ammonia smells like cat pee.
Yeah.
Well, it's they're pretty similar. Yeah. Well, he had to go to the bathroom.
Well, if at your household you're dying for your eggs and
back
cat
up
pee,
and back this out. Hold on for a second.
I'm not coming over for...
You don't want to come over for Easter? We have a good time.
They reported that it was about 300 pounds with black and brown matted hair on its head and its body. And because of that, they couldn't see any distinguishable like facial features. They went outside to get another look when a car drove by and illuminated it in its headlights. I can read, I promise. When it moved towards them, they got scared and they ran back inside, apparently.
Yeah, why they waited till this point?
I don't know. I feel like so their whole thing, they were kind of terrified as to what it was, but it wasn't really attacking them or anything like that. But it was at this point they reported it to the police or whatever, and Deputy James Shannon, he came out to the house. And this is a quote from him. They heard something in the window, kind of clawing and pawing. From what I remember, I don't think this critter, whatever the hell it was trying to get in as much as it was saying, hey, look at me.
So it's like okay, so is the monster an exhibitionist?
Maybe just got its hair done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was maybe it was just it said it was matted.
Right.
Okay. Well, maybe. Yeah. Look at me, and he's out modeling and pulling poses and saying, "Come on, take a look."
Okay.
Or, this was at night. So if they had the lights on, no, I'm thinking the wrong way. I was thinking it would act as a mirror, but that's for them, it would be a mirror.
Right. So, Deputy Shannon.
What happened there, Dave?
I got my windows mixed up.
That's what happens when you work on Windows.
Right.
Wow.
Deputy Shannon did not suspect a hoax. He felt that the family had seen something. He spent an hour or two at the Cayton home and then returned when daylight broke.
The Cayton helm?
Cayton home. I'm sorry.
It's like they got a helm?
They have a helm at home.
Cayton home.
The home helm.
It's magical.
It's like a dome on top of the house.
Yeah, it allows you to see big feet.
Big feet.
Big feet. Big foot.
Something like that.
Anyway, he came back the next day.
Bigfoot?
No, the deputy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Deputy Jimmy.
Yeah, he and 4 other deputies searched the area looking for 6 or 7 hours in jeeps or on horseback.
Well, they were looking to see if
They were the
Bigfoot was in a Jeep or on horseback?
Yeah, the
No,
monster was on the Jeep
they-
on horseback.
They were
Because I'm really interested in that.
They really went wrong. I mean, I'm no scientist, but I'm
No.
not going to look for a Bigfoot.
They
We're
were
going to
all
go to these tracks and look for the tire treads.
no. They
These
were.
look like Sasquatch tire tracks.
Oh my god. No, they were either in jeeps or they were on
Bigfoot.
No, not Bigfoot.
Okay.
The deputies.
The deputies.
Oh, well, that's where we went wrong.
All
Mark.
right.
Sorry.
Oh,
right,
my
right.
goodness. And this is another
Because
quote.
how great would it be if he stole a Jeep?
Yeah.
And and that would be on the news and never mind.
Couple of Bigfoots hanging off, standing in the
Yeah.
back, holding onto the
God.
roll bars, going, woo!
It'd be like OJ with the white Bronco, but it'd be a Jeep full of Sasquatch and the news helicopter would be behind him. That I would pay to watch that on
I
TV.
would watch that. That's a movie idea.
I have another quote from him. A lot of people thought it was a bear. Somebody thought it was a deer. And I thought, these people ought to be able to tell the difference.
I like this guy.
I know.
I like him too.
So part of a skull, either from a cow or another large animal, was found in a pit behind the Cayton home. And tufts of fur were found on a kitchen.
What?
I can't read. I swear I'm not drinking yet. It was found on a chicken coop.
What?
A chicken coop.
So, okay. So they found the matted pieces of fur in the chicken coop.
Yeah,
Not in
I
the
think it was
kitchen.
on like a nail that was sticking out of the chicken
okay.
coop or
Okay.
whatever.
I gotcha.
And apparently the Caytons, they had actually seen Bigfoot sitting on it at one point.
The
On the
chicken coop?
nail?
No, on the coop.
We have
Oh
so
my
many
God.
logistical questions. Well, now a chicken coop isn't super strong. But, I mean, chicken wire itself
Right.
is just, it all depends, I guess, on the chicken
Well,
coop.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a
Are
whole
you
lot of
questioning
details.
the 300-pound report if he's sitting on top of a chicken coop?
Well, I'm going to interject that you might have, that was actually kind of small for this creature. It's reported to be considerably
Right.
larger, right?
Right.
What are you talking about now?
Well, it's supposed to be between 5 to 10 feet tall and 300 to 1,000 pounds.
Right.
Okay, just making sure.
So I'm just thinking of my size human, sitting on top of a chicken coop. Even if it was a well-built one, that's gonna be.
Yeah, it's going to be wobbly for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if you assumed that there were hermits or mountain men out back throwing things,
crazed mountain men. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you really kind of make like a Fort Knox version of chicken coop so they don't steal your chickens?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah. All right.
It was a very well built. It was a very well built chicken coop.
Yeah. Deputy Shannon,
But if he was sitting on top of it, where'd the mat of fur come from?
I know. I'm actually
Visually,
Why don't we go down the street where the neighbor has a chicken coop and you'll sit on
I'll
it?
sit on it.
Yeah.
Now, but I've got to be. But because the creature's not wearing any clothes, I've got to get naked.
Well, I didn't want to get arrested today.
Well, how am I going to get tufts of fur in the coop?
Wait, the tufts of fur weren't in the coop, right? They were
No,
stuck to the nail
they were
that
stuck
was like
to a nail.
protruding on
That
the top
yeah.
of the
that he was sitting on.
Right. So like he was just sitting there and his fur like got hooked on this nail that was sticking up, and as he got down it just
Right.
ripped off.
Where was the fur connected to? Well, he was sitting down touching the nail. Probably either his tuchus.
Well, it depends on how long this is. I mean, if it's long hair, it could get.
Was there dingleberries on
Was there? That's what I was getting at.
See, like,
yeah.
I need some hard-hitting reports.
Yeah,
Boy.
was that nail hitting him somewhere where the sun don't shine, or
unfortunately, I did not research that. I didn't look at the logistics. I just thought it was kind of interesting that he was sitting on the chicken coop.
devil's in the
So,
details, Lish? Come
Yeah,
on
I
now.
know. Sorry.
And if
Anyway,
it's a peaked roof. I'm just saying how there's logistical questions.
yeah. Deputy Shannon, he interviewed residents of the home, so the people that live there.
I mean, we know.
I know. Anyway, friends and those in the area. Mrs. Cayton simply described it as a 6 feet tall with stubby legs and hairy, indistinct features that turned to protect two smaller ones that were standing behind it.
Features? Oh,
No.
to protect two smaller creatures.
Yeah, smaller creatures that were standing behind it
Okay.
before walking away into the strip mine, which was right behind their house, I guess. 2 days later, Mary, which I think was one of the daughters, she saw the beast standing on the edge of the strip mine when she pulled into the driveway. And 5 days later, the initial report, 5 days later after the initial report, John Nutter,
Just leaving that alone.
I know, a photographer, said he saw a bear.
Why is that funny? Here's like perfect name for a photographer.
Yeah, it's really a good name for a photographer.
Crap.
Pictures with Nutter.
Yeah, he said he saw a bear about 30 feet away in a wooded area. He took a photo and left very quickly because obviously he thought it was a bear. A deputy searched the area for 90 minutes, found what apparently was bear tracks. The photo was fuzzy and grainy, and I guess
Not a good photographer.
Definitely Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, that made the photographer change. Like, he waffled on his story about a bear. He was like, I don't know what it was. But now this sighting made the front page news 4 different times. And this is the local news. I think eventually it made it out to nationwide because overnight their property became an outpost for Bigfoot enthusiasts and hunters. It got so bad, the family had to put up a fence to keep onlookers out.
Yeah, because at one point, a van just drove up under the front yard, just right into the front yard,
Yeah.
parked, and a group of hunters got out, and they had, like, Doberman pinchers, and they had their rifles, and they were just going to trek into the woods up to the old mine, I guess, to kill them.
Yeah.
So I think then they put a fence up because they were getting sick of that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would too.
Yeah. The excitement of this sighting lasted into the fall. So, like, it happened to this family for, like, months as far as, like, people just constantly going through their yard. So they were definitely over it at that point. The family received a lot of backlash, harassment, and taunting from the rest of the town. It was believed that the family was just pulling a hoax for publicity. But the Caytons stuck to their story. And this is from a reporter, Barbara Galloway. They were very plain, simple, down-to-earth people. And you could tell something had happened that really frightened them. There were never any inconsistencies with their story. However, many times we went over it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having such an issue reading.
Are you having a stroke?
I don't know.
It's the Nash kryptonite. See, I've been gone for so long,
I
and everything's
know.
been really, really smooth, and I'm back, and you're still acclimating.
My God. Yeah. Okay. So I have
It's the ammonia smell.
some other claims and other evidence that possibly happened around this time as well. Someone claims to have seen this creature run across the road near the Cayton's home. It was Route 30, I think. It was a fog-shrouded night, and all of a sudden, they saw this thing dart out in front of them. I don't think they told anybody because they didn't feel like anybody would believe them. Like, you know, it was a bear or something like that. But a woman reported that she had been hearing strange noises in the woods by her house since some time.
That's just because of the creature got on the chicken coop again.
Yeah. By her house since some time. I don't know.
You need a proofreader.
Yeah, I do. And that it sounded like a cat fight or a woman's shriek. Other neighbors also heard the noises. Rocks were thrown at nearby homes at night, and one neighbor was hit in the face.
With a rock?
Yep, with
In
a
the
rock.
face.
In the face. Some claim it would bang or pound on the windows. The family, they had a German Shepherd, and I guess at one point,
Yeah, I have here that this dog got so scared. This isn't quotes. She got scared and dug a tunnel in the ground about 6 foot deep.
yeah.
Now, number one,
That's really ambitious.
that's
for you.
incredible.
Right.
Yeah, that.
So I'm not, it's in quotes.
Yeah.
From Hal, Cayton. But something broke the dog's neck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they found her the next
Oh,
morning.
that
She was
sucks.
still in her collar, but her neck was broke.
That takes some force.
Yeah.
Oh, poor dog.
Now, and speaking of Hal Cayton, he was talking like in that one movie we watched by Small Town Monsters that the mine. They would play hide and seek back there.
Right.
And when rocks were thrown, they kind of would throw it back. They thought it was like a game. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they would even mark these rocks and chuck them. I don't know if X, whatever. And that rock would be thrown back. So again, was this creature just playing along? Was it playing a game?
The little kid creatures?
Right.
Yeah, was it if
Just trying to have
one
fun.
person said they spotted
like smaller ones.
big one with a couple small ones with the little squatches playing with the other kids.
Yeah. Now, Evelyn Cayton, she reported in another newspaper that she would leave fruits and vegetables in the backyard at night.
Well, but is that on like the mulch pile, or is that just for the creature?
Well, I think she would leave it for the creature, and the family would find large human-like footprints in the morning, and the food was gone. So,
Footprints.
So they were leaving food out for it?
Yeah.
Kind of like Santa Claus?
Yeah, they were leaving fruits and vegetables.
But I mean, if you start putting food outside, any creature, there's going to be creatures are going to come up. There's going to be deer. There could be whatever.
Bear.
Yeah. Whenever I take spent
The
grain,
hermit that's living behind.
Yeah. Whenever I take grain or old apples that are rotting and I throw them out in the backyard, they come and take it.
True.
Bigfoot?
But
Big,
do you find
footprints?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we find deer footprints, but not any of the other creatures' footprints.
Do you find human-like footprints?
Just when I walk around.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, footprints ranging from 14 inches to 21 inches were later found.
Yikes.
Yeah. A tunnel 7 or 8 feet long was found in the dense brush that lead to, I guess, a gully behind the Cayton home. It resembled a nest or sleeping area. And I have a quote here. A person basically would have had to go in there with a chainsaw and carve out a perfect circle. And it wasn't like that at all. It didn't look human. And it didn't match the behavior patterns of a bear.
That's where I got the nickname, the Ohio Grassman.
Yes. Okay. So when I was doing my research, I didn't realize. I just thought Ohio had a bunch of Bigfoot encounters in different parts of the state. I didn't realize that they were basically like his other name is Grassman. I didn't get that. I'm sorry.
No.
I know. I
and
failed.
the Minerva Monster is the most famous
Yes.
grass man. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, of the Grassman. Yeah, because they dug these burrows into the tall grass, and then they would eat the grass, and then whatever else was left out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the sightings, I guess there was a lot of animal deaths around this time too. So I don't know. I have a little extra here. Reporter Barbara Calloway, she had a story where a lion-like tan-colored animal on 4 legs, it walked with the creature. And we were watching that in the documentary that they would always see like a cougar or some kind of other creature with the Bigfoot. So it's almost
slightly older woman.
What?
A hot, slightly older
No.
woman.
Cougar.
A cougar.
No, an animal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a.
I was like, wow.
You got an F you look for that
I'm
one.
just saying. I was like, go Minerva Monster. All right. Looking good.
Yeah, so the Caytons, they never felt like they were in imminent danger. They just felt like maybe the creature was curious about them, or maybe like...
Saying hello to the neighbors.
Right, yeah. Hi, I'm just passing through. I don't know.
Well,
Anyway.
I found oddly this odd small connection you were saying about another creature to these things called the devil dogs.
Ooh.
So yeah, so there. I guess you were saying that they were sighted with like a lion-like creature.
Yeah.
These were definitely more canine. So I mean, it just said, but it did say that they were tan, 4 legs, and it was
Okay.
like dog-like. And so there was this whole side thing, and I figured it didn't go down that path because we could do a whole show on devil dogs, but. That was the other thing that was the only other creature that they found with the monster was that with the Minerva Monster were these creatures that were like dog, large, canine, all 4s or lion-like. Yeah. And you don't want to mess with
Devil dogs.
Devil dogs. And I thought they were little chocolate things that you could eat, like ho-hos, but not in this
No.
case.
And then you were disappointed
I was really disappointed.
because you thought Sasquatch was out there with
Yeah,
ho-hos and devil dogs.
Eating Little Debbie's and Hostess products. Boy, was I wrong.
There you go, hostess, new spokesperson.
That's right.
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
The last bit that I have is about the Small Town Monsters documentary.
Let's save that for the second
yeah,
half.
I figured.
Since we're going to bring that up. I got an article, this is from June 29th, 1980, 2 years after all this went down. The Akron Beacon Journal. Headline, Minerva's Monster is almost like a pet.
Oh.
By Barbara Mudrick. He's become residents of the area say a fixture in the neighborhood. Everyone knows he's there, but no one pays much attention anymore. He has a few eccentricities, such as regularly pelting nearby houses with small stones, but mostly he keeps to himself and is generally considered a good neighbor, they say. The so-called Minerva Monster, who 2 years ago created an uproar, the likes of which Paris Township had never seen, still is hanging around the densely wooded area behind the home of Herbert and Evelyn Cayton in southeastern State County nearby, residents say. He's almost like a pet, said Mary Ackerman, one of the Cayton's daughters, who lives nearby. So, yeah, I guess it's causing no harm, and at this point, they just grew accustomed to live and let live.
Right.
Yeah, having the Minerva Monster mark his territory on top of their chicken coops.
Yeah, but there's only, it's one
Like
thing.
a dog does when it has a little dingle hanging out.
It's one thing getting your roof pelted with rocks, but I tell you what, the first time he messes up and breaks the window,
Ooh.
It's go time.
yeah.
Well, and I didn't hear or see anything about the chickens in the chicken coop getting taken or eaten.
Right.
He was just sitting up there.
Now, I did find another article where that whoever compiled the stuff on the Minerva Monster, there was an article about a cult and Satanists in this area.
Okay.
And up around these Lost Mines, they were finding like a lot of chicken bones, a lot of dead cats. They even found some cats that were being kind of starved and trapped.
Aww.
And I feel like they were trying to say, well, they're blaming it on Satanists, but was it the creature?
Yeah.
Satanist would be an easier out. I guess if you're then blame it on a creature.
I mean, if you're the Minerva Monster, you're like, hell yeah, it was Satanists.
Right, yeah,
nothing to do with that.
They did that, not me. You guys still find me. Satanists, they're just down the corner.
And another article talking about they had some scientists come out to try to check out the footprints with little slight speculation like, why are these creatures here? Did the volcano, I'm assuming they're talking about in Washington when that volcano went up,
In
Mount St. Helens,
Yeah.
that had pushed some Sasquatch from the Pacific Northwest, pushed him out this way.
That's pretty far.
That's pretty far.
Yeah, and that was 1980. So
I didn't say it was my idea. It was some scientists that were studying the Minerva Monster.
Wow, Dave, just really on top of that one. Dude, that was 1980.
Yeah, what are these scientists talking about?
I know.
A-holes.
It's the last time I read an article.
But there was a high number of...
Was it 1980? The ash, that's when it went. The ash came all the way to Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I remember.
Wow.
I don't remember because I wasn't born yet. But
Wow.
my mom told me about it. That she saw
Is
it.
that how we're going to be?
I'm
I
sorry.
ain't going to be on the show?
Nice, Lisha. Nice. But starting in 1975, there was a high number of UFO incidents in and or outside of Cincinnati, which is just a little hop and a skip and a jump from this area. And it's only about 70 miles from Pittsburgh, which we know from a previous show that area is heavily wooded and filled with, can anybody guess? Guess? Anybody?
trees.
Oh, geez, come on. Werewolves.
Oh.
There's a high number of werewolves in that mountain range right there. So I'm thinking that this guy, this grassland Minerva Monster, he was kind of there as a protector, the way I see it, because the werewolves can be dicks. You know?
Yeah, but where was he when the townsfolk?
Well,
were
every
making
werewolf
fun of
listener, Nash, is now upset with us.
Was that?
Every one of our werewolf listeners are now upset.
I still liked werewolves, but I just see it. There's a lot of werewolf encounters right in that strip right there between Ohio and Pennsylvania, kind of near Pittsburgh, like right on the border right there. And right on the border is right almost dead center in the middle between Minerva and Pittsburgh. So that's what I'm thinking, that he was there to help out and keep the werewolves away.
Okay.
Yeah.
With his ammonia and egg smell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That'll keep a lot of people away.
Right?
Yeah. And so I just, that's the way I see it. I see that the aliens planted them there, and one of there's like 8 or so missile bases that were planted in Ohio between 1955 and 1971. So I'm thinking in that the aliens came down 1975, the Minerva Monster, they kind of put them there. They said, hey, there's a lot of these dog creatures getting crazy out there in their own little UFO voices, and thought, you know what? Let's put a protector out there, put a couple of them so they can have little monster babies. And, is out there to help. I think he's doing good.
Now, what do you think if he...
There you go.
That's completely different than the story that Lish just read. Right?
Well, I mean, he was still
The Minerva Monster. It's there to stop the werewolves.
Yes.
End of story.
End of story.
Yeah. You're
and they get bored.
welcome, Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. You owe me one, buddy.
And if he captured a baby werewolf
Yeah.
and raised it as his own, then that would be his
devil dog.
devil
buddy.
dog.
Yeah. Okay.
See, yeah.
He domesticated a werewolf for his own purpose.
I was thinking originally, because when I saw that, and I thought, okay, well, the aliens are maybe trying to do some cross-hybrid stuff, and I was like, no. I'm really overthinking it. This is a lot more simple. To your point, Dave, that's what it was. He's like trying to domesticate these creatures to make it a little bit easier on the residents while he's there to pick up trash and remove skid marks on top of the chicken coops, whatever. But just there to help out the general community and keep them safe.
Yeah. I mean,
There you go.
that checks all the boxes, right?
Thank you, Minerva Monster.
Oh, well, on that note, why don't we take a break, and we'll come back with more shenanigans, movie review, and I don't know what other theories Nash will have, so you got to stick around. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, the Minerva Monster. Bet you never heard the story told that way.
And I didn't even think about it. I didn't look up the death count from like dog attacks or animal attacks in that area. That would have been a good factoid. I missed it because that could have supported my theory that he was there to help out and keep the werewolves at bay. Darn it.
Yeah, you definitely needed that to support your theory.
Yep.
Screw the pooch on that one. Sorry, listeners.
All right. Hey, if you enjoy the show, why don't you listen to us on Apple and Spotify? Hit that 5-star. We really appreciate it. It does help the show. It helps us climb in the ranks and gets more ears on, stories like we just told. All right. Hey, I want to welcome a new Patreon member, Lewis Gray. Welcome. We do have a Patreon. It's only $1. And what do you get, Dave?
Ad-free episodes.
Yeah.
Access to our Discord.
Yeah.
And sometimes random content that we want to try out.
All right. Look at Dave.
Go, Dave.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just threw you at that. But we did hear from Lewis. Sorry it took so long to become a Patreon. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm just glad that you're part of the club. It's me, Louie the Dork from Twitter. So you guys remember Louis? He's dropped us some comments and stuff. Welcome. And he has a story for us. I wanted to share a cool story with you guys. I was 14 at the time, and my grandparents were living with us. My grandmother was actively dying from cancer.
Oh, jeez.
It had become her time to go. As we were all standing there with her, the room flashed bright, and she was gone. Everyone was taking a loss in, so we didn't talk about it at that very moment. The next morning, I had said something to my mom about it, and she said she saw it too. My dad and uncle said so as well. We shrugged and went on. My grandmother's bed was next to a window, and on the outside was a trio of bushes. When we went outside, the middle bush was dead, fried, even if it was hit by electricity. All I could think of was the flash, and then it hit me. My grandmother's middle name was Electra. In a way, it comforted me to know she must have moved on and was no longer in pain. Anyway, thanks for listening. Keep up the great work. I love the podcast, and it's my favorite. Also, make Nash say Sheboygan again.
Sheboygan.
That definitely made my day.
Sheboygan.
All right. Hey, thanks for sharing that story. So interesting.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
What a
she
story.
did again. Sorry for your loss.
Of course.
But so they saw a bright flash when she passed, and only to find that bush, like it was fried by electricity.
That's
I don't
pretty
know,
amazing.
That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
fantastic story.
Yeah.
And your grandma's middle name was Electra. I thought that was only like comic book kind of name. Yeah,
Electra in Sheboygan.
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 Make Nash say Sheboygan now. I just love he's like also make Nash say. All right, hey, you want to share a story? Just go to our website. You find all the ways to contact us. I had made fun of. No, Dave was talking about email. Like, oh, so antiquated. You got to DM us. You'll find all the ways. You use whatever you would like to send us a story. All right, so we're going to move on to our movie review. Hold on, everybody. Something's happening here. Alicia's trying to whisper to me while I'm talking.
Sorry, sticker.
Oh, that's right. Thanks for sharing your story, and we're going to send you an official Paranormal Puncher sticker. So I'll message you so you can send us your address.
And thanks to Alicia for
Yeah,
reminding us that. Yes.
You could have just said it in the microphone. You had to whisper at me.
Well, I didn't want to distract you, but I guess I did.
You did?
So
The show is ruined.
I know. Sorry.
All right. Movie time. So, we've been experimenting with trying to do a little movie review that ties in to the topic.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're enjoying it, but maybe not this time. So, the movie we picked is called American Bigfoot. It was originally titled Camp Out, all one word with a K, Camp Out. Now, usually I will tell Patreon members what it is in advance so they can watch it and send in a review that we would read on the show. I did not feel like making any of our Patreon members watch this.
Right.
This was not a good usage of the Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie, retitled American Bigfoot, I'm assuming probably to, I don't know, sell more. I don't know why.
Right.
2.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
Nice.
There is a director's cut that you can find there, and on
Wow.
IMDb, for some reason, the director's cut is a 5.3 out of 10. Yeah,
Is it like a superhero movie, the Super Friends, where the
Justice League.
Snyder cut was better than the original?
I doubt.
Yeah, I
highly
don't
doubt
know.
it. I feel like someone just made another entry and then got all the friends.
Yeah.
Would you have to pay for the director's cut?
I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're like, you got to get the director's cut. This is a 5.5
Right.
instead of a 2.4, but you still had to give $4.95 to buy it.
I don't know. Here's the synopsis, and also how it ties into what we talked about.
Right.
Enraged by the murder of its offspring, a Bigfoot rampages through the countryside of southeast Ohio. Detective Benson, Ranger Thomas, and Bigfoot researcher Hank scramble to locate the legendary creature before it attacks a group of teenagers on a camping trip in an isolated place called Camp Out. The Detective Benson is played by Zach Galligan from Gremlins.
Yeah.
The lead actor from Gremlins?
Yep.
Gremlins?
Yep.
Oh, wow. He did another movie?
And also Clint Howard. He did do another movie.
Wow.
Also Clint Howard.
Okay.
I know you're familiar with him because he's been in Star Trek.
Yes, he was. He was
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah.
He was so young in Star Trek. So does that mean that Ron Howard was directing it?
Ron Howard
No.
did not direct this movie.
The director is Glenn Martin.
No.
Now, I was going to preface our conversation by saying this. I know it's wicked hard to make a movie.
For
And
sure.
I really try to be respectful and enjoy it. And sometimes things aren't just for you. But I have some opinions, and I'm going to say them. And I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, this movie was made for $300,000.
Wow.
Yep.
It had to go to Zach Galligan.
Well, and
Clint
Clint
Howard,
Howard. Yeah, it was the actors.
It didn't go into the Bigfoot outfit. Which is like the Bigfoot outfit, which they showed a lot.
Yeah.
If that was my outfit, I would have kept it in the shadows. And I would have used it sparingly. Nope. And it had this weird, the face was like clay.
Yeah, it was
Right.
almost like a clay face,
Yeah.
but
Well, and they had 3 of them.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean,
They must have got them from the college.
the,
Like, have the college kids put it together. Because
Right.
$300,000 is not a lot of money.
Huh.
Yeah.
They had to get those for free.
Right.
But so basically, we have a movie. We got some acting. But we have the catalyst is there's a guy that's hunters out there, and there's this little Sasquatch that peeks around a tree, and rather than be curious, the hunters is like shoots him.
Yeah.
Which okay, whatever. But that sets off then its parents to Sasquatch came out,
mode.
Killed that hunter right away.
Oh yeah.
Then they went into town and kidnapped a kid. I guess they're going to raise this kid as his own.
This is their new baby, you know.
Oh, and just so Dave, I don't know if you picked up on it, but the first bit of the movie. Now you can only make it 30 minutes,
Right. Yep.
But the dialogue was all ADR. Which means that they went back in and re-recorded because it probably was like their audio probably sounded like garbage, but it wasn't synced up quite right.
Yeah.
So the audio was slightly off, and at even times I'm like, is that even Zach Galligan's voice?
Right.
It was very strange. But then at some point in the movie they stopped doing that. I think about the time Clint Howard came on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Clint Howard's like, I don't have time to come back and do ADR.
Right.
And then all the audio sounds like somebody was standing behind them running a giant air conditioner.
Yep.
This has got this hum and this hiss, and sometimes they try to cut it out. So I don't know if you ever watched a movie where you're going along, you have some type of room tone, and it just drops.
Yeah.
It's dead silent. Then it comes back on when someone talks. The audio. Now, Dave, this is an example why I fussed so much over those microphones I was looking at. 'Cause you got to have good audio.
Yeah.
And this movie did not have it. And it really, I don't blame the audio for taking me out of it. There was other things that took me out of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, you watched 30 minutes of it.
Right. Yep. So I got basically to the point where the hunter shot the kid, Bigfoot. And the first part of it was pretty incomprehensible of why any of those scenes meant anything.
Yeah, they didn't.
They weren't necessary to the show at all.
Well, it didn't seem that way. And they were introducing characters, but at no point was there character development. So I kept getting confused of which one's the sheriff, which one's the ranger, because they kind of looked the same until you saw them driving a police car versus a ranger truck.
Right.
And they were both like dating single moms and stuff. It's like, where is all this coming from? How did
Ohio?
Right. Yeah. It just really was. It was hard to follow.
It didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Right. And then the videographer or whatever, it went from static shots with like 3,000 different angles for every little thing. And then every once in a while he'd throw in shaky cam. That was more annoying than any of the Bourne movies, shaky cam. And you could tell it was,
you just got this movie mentioned in the same breath as the Bourne Identity movie. Good job.
And you could tell it was low budget because absolutely everything, you could tell that they weren't trying to affect anything on the set. They didn't want to make any like he's pawing at a shutter. There's no scrape marks on the shutter. They don't pull the shutter off. Like they couldn't afford to do anything.
Well, that's what I was thinking. But you saw. So there was a change. Do you remember about how long into the movie before the audio change happened that the ADR stopped?
It felt like halfway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to that point. So yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. So their budget hit while in the first 30 minutes when you were watching it, and then it finally hit the audio. The audio guy was like, screw it, about halfway through.
And then
maybe,
but some of the budget didn't make sense of the hunter that kills the baby Bigfoot. I mean, did you guys notice that was a taped on beard?
Oh yeah.
No, but at some point it looked real.
Right.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the movie I was like, that beard looks real, but now that doesn't look real. So I didn't know if the actor shaved and they had to do a reshoot, or if it was always just a fake beard and I didn't notice it until certain lighting hit it.
Right.
They did him dirty like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill. They put the beard on when he had a beard.
Now, my notes consisted of matted fur butt shot, ADR, is that Zach's voice? And then fake beard. So, I know.
Right.
That
Those are
was
the
my
high
notes.
points of the
Yeah.
movie.
I was like, what is happening?
Now, Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it did remind me of this topic, the Minerva Monster, just the way the movie opens of Bigfoot's there at a house. It's making noise, and it's, in this case, it was terrifying the person inside.
Right.
But it was like, okay, this actually kind of really fits, and then it just goes off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you just take the concept of the Bigfoot was harassing that house, but then this hunter, I wish the hunter was more of a mistake because he thought it was a deer.
Right.
But he saw what it was and was like, just straight up shot it.
Yeah.
But then the Bigfoot kidnap a kid. I'm okay if the movie, like, all right, now it's a race. The sheriff, they got to save this kid from the Bigfoot. Keep it this small story and just do it well. But you heard in the description. The sheriff, they scrambled to locate the legendary creature before it attacks a group of teenagers on a camping trip in the isolated place called Camp Out. That came at the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's like, I don't know, 10 teenagers. And then we kind of get our teenagers out camping movie. But I'm like, we're at the point where we should be wrapping up the movie. Now we're introducing this.
More characters, yeah.
I was like, did the editor forget that should have been in the beginning of the movie? Or?
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Right.
But like I said, I like the idea of them trying to race and save a kid that the Bigfoot kidnapped. I think that's enough to tell a thrilling story where they got to save this kid.
Right.
Introducing all the... Just don't... Not every movie needs to have teenagers camping out.
And I can't remember, were they with their boobs coming out, like why were there teenagers in the movie?
Probably for that exact reason.
Yeah. I can't remember, but
yeah, I can't remember because I'm sure by then I was just dancing around the house, just screaming about what is going on.
yeah.
That was the last $10,000 worth of the budget that they held back.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I need 25 teenagers, most of them girls in bikinis, at this thing because this creature's going to attack.
Yeah.
Most of this movie was filmed in a week with a crew of fewer than 6 people. And with less than 2 weeks of pre-production.
Wow.
As Dave, we talked about pre-production.
Right.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's at least where you make sure your actors know their lines.
Yeah.
Marcus, talking to you.
It actually was filmed in Ohio, though, right?
Yeah. I think the director is from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's awesome that he was going to make a movie. And even the one guy in the movie is like a longtime friend. All that's great.
Right.
I just felt like the script needed 4 or 5 more revisions.
Right.
And it also, if you're going to do a movie about Bigfoot attacking teenagers, that's the movie.
Right.
And it's call it Camp Out. Great. But trying to have it, the baby Bigfoot got shot and then it kidnapped, it just seemed, and then there's also, I feel like they were trying to shove in some love stories.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Both the ranger and for the deputy.
Yeah. It was so much happening.
Yeah.
That there was no real story to latch onto.
Right.
And I can forgive bad costuming.
Yeah.
If the story's compelling. I could be like, I wish they should have shot that in a little bit less light and maybe had it, Yeah. Again, like I said, it's wicked hard to make a movie.
Right.
So sorry if you don't like my opinion, but it wasn't that good. I think if you watch the movie with your friends, now I did come across someone calling it a comedy horror. I'm like, I'd call BS on that. I feel like now after the reviews are out, some people are going, it's a comedy horror.
It's a lighthearted. Yeah.
I think if
campy.
If the 4 of us were able to watch it together having a beer, we might have been able to have more fun with it.
Yeah.
But, Lish and I sat down to kind of watch it and, take notes and review, not knowing that maybe we should have, I don't know, mainlined vodka.
While you were watching this.
Sorry.
Yeah. I wonder if they had a bigger budget, for $1 million, what could they have done differently? And change that script around to, again, give more character development,
Right.
build up the right story. I think it would have gone a long way.
Dropped the cast, some of the cast. There was just too many.
Yeah.
It just should have been less people.
Right.
And focused on a smaller scale story. I think they could have. I think this there was potential in here with story-wise. Just so much happening.
Yep.
I felt like it was two different stories. What about the kid that got kidnapped by Bigfoot? Oh, wait, no. It's the teenagers at the camp that we're worried about?
Yeah.
It was just,
so I feel like they didn't even rescue the kid. He kind of rescued himself, correct? Didn't he, like, escape? And then he showed up at his house. So it was kind of like,
Maybe the kid had enough of the story. He's like, I'm just going to save myself.
Right.
Screw this, I'm out.
Yeah.
I got some fun things here. So during its premiere at Movies 10, located in Nelsonville, Ohio, the audience was promised a meet and greet with the Hollywood actors after the movie.
Boy.
However, instead of the advertised Zach Galligan and Clint Howard, only local actors were present.
Yeah, Clint was probably like, screw this. I'm not showing up for that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's saying it was Zach Galligan.
Right.
And I was looking at first, the IMDb was showing all the actors, and I didn't see Clint at first. I had to click for more to see the full cast. And for just a split second, I was like, oh, uncredited? Did he not want to be credited in this movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can see that.
And, don't take my word for it. Here's a review from Freak for Books on IMDb. Worst costume ever. Look, I understand that sometimes there isn't a budget. I don't know who made this Bigfoot costume, but they should have just went to Halloween Express and been done with it. I guarantee that if the elusive plot, the terrible acting, or the garbage camera work doesn't make you laugh, the Bigfoot will. What's best, as in worst, is that they don't even try to hide the terrible Bigfoot costume. It gets a lot of screen time. Good job, guys. I'll remember this one for a while. 3 stars for the laughs. Okay. So again, maybe if you approach it
Right.
as a comedy,
Or as a theater professor, showing your students of this is what not to do, or let's dissect this and see what you would do differently as a teaching film.
I will come back to that.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a point. Here's another one from Rod Laver. Okay, I have to comment. I've commented on a few Bigfoot movies now, and I usually can't appreciate low-budget movies, especially about Bigfoot. This is the first Bigfoot movie so far that I actually had to ask, why in the hell did they waste time making this? A complete waste of time. I mean, the Bigfoot costumes aren't just embarrassing, or are just embarrassing. The blonde woman whose son gets kidnapped while taking out the trash was ridiculous. Do cops in small rural towns just wear the badges clipped to their breast pocket like that? I usually like Clint Howard in movies, but I just felt bad for him. I stopped after the 2 idiots got him on camera. That's enough for me. I just can't take the costumes anymore. Yes, the costumes were bad. The blonde woman. So we were laughing because it reminded us of a movie we made.
Yeah.
With a pretty stellar costume. Our Fishman costume was pretty good compared to this. But remember when Nikki runs out, Dave's playing a fishing game warden, or just a fish warden. He's standing there looking at the water because that's what apparently fish wardens do. She comes running out of the woods and she's just hysterical. This Fishman, her acting is just like this woman who's lost her kid. She's just hysterical, waving her hands, and it just made me laugh because, that's
But I feel like
that's how we made Nikki act, right?
Yeah, I feel like Nikki probably did it better, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, we were trying to make a B movie comedy, so again, maybe this was the goal of the movie.
Right.
Another review from R. Payne. Pure crime. Someone needs to go to jail behind this garbage. Wow. Piss poor dialogue and acting throughout the whole movie. My toddler son can make a better movie and act better than these felons.
Oh, no.
Anyone that gives this crap more than 2 stars is on drugs.
Whoa.
And not the good kind.
Right.
I do not recommend this movie. And hey, if you want to give it a shot with your buddies and a couple beers, maybe it'll be funny. Maybe you'll have a fun time. This is just my opinion. I didn't care for it. But to Nash's point about the professor showing his students what not to do, I kind of, my comment to Dave since Dave and I were talking about taking Bigfoot Ridge, the comic book, and making it into a movie, Dave, this movie is an example of what we cannot do.
Exactly. Right.
We cannot have our audio that bad, our costume that bad.
Right.
And
So
that's
it's a learning lesson.
Yeah, that's the low bar. So,
Right.
so when you look at it and you're going to look at the film that you guys create, it's like you look at it and go, is this better or the same as this other movie?
Yeah.
And if it's the same, then you're like, oh my God, we've got to redo this. We have to
Right.
rethink this. Yeah.
Well, it tells me that we need to set our sights on a budget higher than 300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not to get too convoluted with stories, introducing all the things that you guys critiqued. That's just it. It's like, okay, well, let's look at this. Let's keep it simple.
We should be good. I mean, even in the comic book, we just scrapped the whole Dave character to try to keep it simple.
Right.
Yeah, and hey, the director, anybody listening, if you say, well, Mark, have you ever made a feature-length movie? No. So I get it. I understand. It's really hard. This guy did it. I have not. So for that, then, yeah, kudos for going after it. Going after a dream and making a feature-length movie with Bigfoot.
Right.
To that, I say kudos.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess the definitely the accolade of completing that is great, but rushing production like that, was that the first time he had done this? In which case, don't start with a feature length. If you've done other things, well, then you should have learned on the get better audio, get better camera shots.
Right.
I believe what he's saying, audience. I wanted to jump right in and make a feature length.
Right.
Dave's like, how about you make some shorts? You don't even know what you're doing.
Well, and like on the director's cut, was there another like when you guys are watching this?
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't have your answer because I will not watch the director's cut.
Well,
I've already done this.
I'm just thinking that on the director's cut, with reference to that, could the movie, you watch a movie and sometimes you're like, okay, that needed another 20 minutes. With another 20 minutes, a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, you could have added this, added that. Total about another 20 minutes, the film would have been a lot better. Is this something like that?
I don't know. I feel like if I could re-edit this,
Yeah.
I might be able to make it something.
We'll introduce the
But it would only be
teenagers.
from Mark's point of view. It would not. The director had a vision.
Yeah.
And there was also these characters that were going to make a documentary. I don't know, they were turkey hunters or something.
Right.
Again, like sometimes we'd see these guys and they've added no value
Right.
to the movie.
Yeah.
I know that I think they were supposed to be like comedy relief, but the whole movie was comedy relief. Yep. Yeah. So again, I would have cut out a lot of cast members.
Right. So the one question I have for you,
Oh God.
when I was you said this is the movie we're going to do, and I was looking for it. It's on Prime, and I just went into Prime and I typed in Bigfoot, and this was like on the third page of scrolling down. How did you find this? Like,
I might have put in a few more keywords.
Okay.
But it took place, it was Bigfoot in Ohio.
you
So when I
specifically
saw-
searched that? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But American Bigfoot, I'm like, oh, that sounds badass.
Okay.
So what you're asking, Dave, is Alicia, what Mickey did you slip Mark to make him find this movie? Because
Yeah, he did this all on his own. I have not taken blame for this one.
Well, I was like, the movie should somehow relate to the topic. You know,
Yeah.
we don't want to talk about a Bigfoot in Ohio and then review Captain America.
Right.
They
Right.
don't fit. So I thought this would fit. And I'm always about low budget movies.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
I just-
even first time directors are going for it. But it just wasn't for me.
I just didn't know if you've hit the demographic where it shows up right on your front page of recommendations, or if you're the type of person that sits there for 2 hours doing nothing but scrolling through the list to find something.
I don't know. Are you saying that
It was on
Google's
page
like
10 at the bottom.
You're like Google already knows like Mark likes Bigfoot,
Right.
and crappy movies,
Right.
So just put this at the top,
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Fair enough.
SEO for you is a little different than everybody else.
Now, if you want to watch movies about Minerva Monster, I have two for you. The first one, The Monster of Minerva, Bigfoot Beyond the Trail. It's a newer one here by Seth Breedlove and his company, Small Town Monsters. And the original that kicked off Small Town Monsters,
Yeah.
Minerva Monster. Both of those you'll get good details, Bigfoot stuff, and they're documentaries.
Right.
So you won't be laughing at the acting. but
Or screaming
it'll
at the
give you
TV.
it'll give you
going,
like info and details about this creature.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I always wanted, I like what Small Town Monsters does, where they make everything about cryptids and things like that. And I was like, that's Paranormal Puncher should be making
Right.
movies
Right.
all about cryptids and the paranormal.
Yep.
Why are we
Yeah.
not doing that?
Well, and you said it took what? The pre-production for that movie was a week?
2 weeks of pre-production and then 6 days of shooting.
So,
Or
okay.
6 cast members and a week of shooting.
Wow.
No,
Well, I was just-
6 production team members. Boy,
Yeah, it rocked you. I got you. I'm just thinking that in our timeline, because we release a new show every 2 weeks, if we could tighten that up, we could do a this level movie following every single.
oh, we can make one of
God.
these every other week.
every other week.
Yeah.
for
Wow.
to go with the podcast.
Oh, boy.
All right.
It's a little work, mostly that you'll be doing, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah. But we'll be starring in it always.
Okay.
It's
And then people can review us and be like, what utter garbage.
Right. Paranormal Punchers are felons.
Oh, boy.
How they know? All right, well, hey, if you're enjoying the movie reviews, we might keep doing it. Heck, you still want to open you up to checking out some stuff you might never heard of or save you. Because
Right.
that's what we do here.
right from the backed up toilet that this movie was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Wish?
No. The Small Town Monsters guy, Seth Breedlove, he actually had an encounter in Minerva.
Oh.
And I have a quote from him. Because they were on all-terrain vehicles. They were looking to replace trail cams or something like that. Anyway, all I know is we're driving, and then bam, there's this huge brown 2-legged figure running. When I say huge, for some reason, the detail that sticks out to me was the musculature in his biceps. In like the biceps, I'm sorry. So this thing is running at an upright gait with dark brown fur at a dead sprint, like an Olympic runner. And it cleared that space in maybe like an 1/8 of a second.
I like this. Seth's like, what I noticed with his biceps. They were so muscular.
The lean musculature
muscly
of his
everywhere.
biceps
Anyway,
as he was running.
that's all I got.
That's rad. That's rad. All right, Nash, anything?
No, I'm just happy to be back.
Yes, we're happy to have
I
you
know.
back.
Thank you.
All right, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dave.
Nope, nothing else from me.
Okay, or me either. So, until next time, remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.